at the front of the dance studio looking as elegant as ever. She wore her cashmere crossover cardigan and her shiny hair was tightly pulled back. She cleared her throat and immediately all the dance students stopped their warm-up exercises and fell silent. "Before we start our class today," said Miss Trina in her clear voice, "I have an announcement to make." The room suddenly became tense with expectation and all eyes were on Miss Trina. "You've all heard of the new hit musical, Stage Sensation, that's been touring the country," she continued, and there were murmurs of recognition all around the room. "I've been to the West End to see it," called Verity smugly. "Well," went on Miss Trina, ignoring the interruption, "it's going to be coming to our town and they need a children's chorus, and this will be made up of students from Step Out Studio." There was a huge cheer and everyone started talking at once. Alana and Mina grinned at each other. "Dancing in a real musical, how cool was that?" "This is the best thing ever," squealed Keisha, coming up to them. "I love musicals." "Oh yes," said Alana, "I'd forgotten. You're always watching The Sound of Music, aren't you?" "Oh, at least once a week," said Keisha. "I've got this big book of show tunes and I play them on the piano. I know all the lyrics off by heart. I never thought I'd get to perform in a real musical." 2 weeks later, everyone was in the studio, still working on Stage Sensation. They were very excited because Mirabelle Montague, the star of the show, was going to come to rehearsal today, as well as the choreographer of the show. Just as they were starting to stretch and warm up, the doors opened and in ran a woman with a worried expression on her face. And in came Mirabelle Montague, wearing a pink leather jacket, a white vest top and white trousers. She had huge hoop earrings on and high heels, mascara and lipstick. She looked much older than 12 years. She saw a chair, flung herself into the chair and said, "I need a Coke now." "Oh, yes, of course," said Mirabelle dear, said the mousy woman, and ran out of the room. The students were transfixed by this drama, and they hadn't noticed that Miss Trina had entered with someone else, the tiniest, most delicate woman that Alana had ever seen, with cropped, short hair dyed bright red. "This," said Miss Trina, "is Miss Natasha Volkov, the choreographer of Stage Sensation." "And this," said Miss Trina, "is Mirabelle, the star of the show. Please make her feel welcome." "Hi, everyone," said Mirabelle. "Oh, don't be nervous about meeting me. I'm just like one of you, really." As soon as she started to dance, she felt a whirling sensation, and the ground disappeared from underneath her. She closed her eyes and she could hear from the distance Madame Coco calling, "Remember, when your good deed is done, the call of home will beckon. You will return home. You will return home." Alana kept on dancing, although she felt there was nothing between her, no floor, just a voice and her moving feet. Suddenly she could feel the floor beneath her feet again, but she was no longer in Madame Coco's shop. When she opened her eyes, she was in a dressing room, a theatre dressing room with rows of mirrors surrounded by light bulbs. Alana could see herself reflected all around the room with her beautiful gold sequins sparkling. She looked in the dressing room and saw a rail of costumes just like the one she was wearing, and a dressing table full of makeup wipes and bottles of lotion and lots of personal belongings, good luck cards and mascots. Alana drew in her breath. She was in a dressing room theatre. As she stared around, she heard a muffled sob coming from somewhere, and she looked, and sitting in a corner, hidden by some costumes, there was a girl of her own age, sort of hiccuping and crying all at the same time. "What's the matter?" said Alana, pulling the costumes to one side. The girl looked at her. "Oh, everything," she said, "everything." And so the adventure goes on, where Alana really does get to appear in a real live Broadway show.